If you have ever struggled with getting a scope level, this is the video for you. Hey guys, so today we are looking at probably my favorite way to mount scopes, and it is one of these little cool gadgets. It is a 3-piece scope leveling tool, and it's really simple. You have 3 pieces, and you can see in the diagram here, you have this flat plate that goes on the bottom, and then you have this triangle piece that slides in this groove in this in this bottom piece. And essentially, you just kind of push your scope and force it to be level. Really cool, simple idea, and that's the best part. Is it's so simple you can't screw it up. That's what it looks like. I'll go ahead and pull these pieces out. So this is your guide, your bottom guide rail. You put this on the bottom, and then you have these two pieces. Depending on the size of the scope and depending on the height of your scope mount, you use these 2 pieces differently. So there's the guide. You have that level, and then you take this piece. And one thing I really like about this is it only goes in one way. So like this way it's not working. Flip it over. You can see it maintains that perfect level 90-degree angle. Just the same on this small one too. I have tried so many ways to mount these scopes, and I see guys that will put, a level here on top of the scope. They'll put a level on the receiver. They'll put another level on the end of the gun, and then they'll like shoot a laser on a wall and try to get the crosshairs to line up perfectly. And let me tell you, I don't have enough hands to do any of that. I don't have enough eyes to look at 4 or 5 different levels. And I always manage to mess it up, and then I get to the range and get in my head that, oh, maybe my scope really isn't level. Maybe I need to re-level it. And so I came across this and thought, wow, this is a really cool idea. The only issue I can really see with it is this works great on a lot of modern scopes and modern rails. All on your typical AR, these are all level 90-degree. It's really easy to set that on top of your Picatinny rail and level your scope. That's really easy. A lot of these modern scope rings, like here on my AR upper, same thing. They've got this milled face right here that's level, and you just drop it in and level your scope that way. Now the issue with this is if you have some older guns, that can become an issue. If you've got some of the older bolt guns, I know I've got combination gun that the top of the receiver is rounded, it's not face, and they don't make scope rings with a flat base, and so you'd be trying to level this on top of a round receiver, which won't work. So in those instances, you're going to have to do something else. But I find this very effective for a lot of my modern rifles. And it's quick and it's easy. And I'll just show you real quick how I do it. So this is a Primary Arms GLX 4-6-16. And I actually don't have this on a gun right now, so this is why I'm using it as a demo. And I've got this really cheap, kind of crappy, I think, rings to demo it on. But what's beautiful about this system is you can see how low clearance I have on this scope ring. And then on this Warren scope ring, I've got some more. It'll work on both of these rings, no problem. So what I do is I will loosen up the rings so the scope will slide and move around. and I find, you adjust and get the eye relief you need. And then, this part is the flat part milled on the scope rings, and this is a pretty tight fit. So I get it in there. Now on this particular scope, these knurled turrets for the focus ring here actually stick out a little bit below this flat plate on the bottom side of the scope. So I've ooched this just a little bit forward. If you don't have big knobs like this, you can just put it right in the middle. And all I do is take my tool and just kind of slide it in there, and it's easier when it's flat. Just kind of slide it in there and push it a little bit, and it'll lock up. It'll lock up nice and flat. So when I'm pushing against it and wiggling this scope, it's bouncing against the table, but in the rings it's not moving. So I get it there, and then I'll take my Allen wrench or whatever for my rings, and I'll just tighten these up. Just tighten these up to a point where they're not, the scope isn't going to move around any. And then I just kind of pull, and sometimes depending on how tight you tighten these down, so you might have to tap out this bottom piece that it slides on. And then once I get that out, I will go ahead and torque these to spec. And I've found it to be quite effective. I mean, the reticle appears to be straight in line, and I've taken shots out to 500-600 yards and haven't had any sort of issues with it. Again, I mean, I guess 500 to 600 yards isn't very long in some shooters' opinions, but this has fared well for me, and I love the simplicity. I can get it leveled in less than a minute and have it on my gun going. And it's not a bad thing for how small and lightweight it is to just chunk it in your range bag. Something as important as your optic, it's important to have it leveled. So yeah, and all in all, I think this set was under $40, so relatively cheap as well. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know if you see any sort of gear or scopes in these videos that you want to know more about. Let me know. I'd be happy to tell you more about some of these scopes or this AR upper I have here. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and look forward to seeing you next time.